Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Last Stand Gamers, and welcome. So today I want to share with you my Planetary exploration vehicle. Now this is a vehicle that is made to navigate the hardest of asteroid terrain and basically explore asteroids from that sort of ground on the foot sort of perspective, looking for ore, looking for other items, and more importantly looking for see if there's actually previous life on this asteroid. And it fits a full crew of about 7 players, as well as a lot of equipment, storage and other items, and it can last probably about 7 days, the actual items that I've stored in there for the moment. But if you're mining and you're gathering resources, you could probably go a lot longer. Now originally this project started out as a vehicle that I could put in a large transport ship and then deploy it to a planet, but it started to get a little bit too large. Once it got onto 2 tracks, then it became 3 tracks because I wanted to fit more stuff inside, more equipment and more things from exploration, and then it ended up with 3 sorts of sets of tracks, and it ended up looking pretty cool in my opinion. Now talking about tracks, over the last few days I've been discussing tracks with a few different people and talking about the most effective way of actually building them. And I originally built them in an encased housing so the track couldn't escape from the wheel. But recently, after talking to some of the community members, they were talking about a tensioning system. So you can see these pistons here in the background are actually used to tension the tracks, pull them tight against the wheels. And then another community member was also talking about how to get the tracks to actually run on the wheels correctly, and he used the blast door blocks as like a sort of running sort of wheel, and it pulls along between the tracks, and it works out really effectively. And I believe that there's a tank actual guide on the workshop at the moment that's absolutely spotless. So let's actually get on with having a look around this ship. So as we move to the back, you notice that there's a number of thrusters as well underneath just to give it a little bit more power. And we come to the back where we have the entrance ramp. So I just built a simple ramp on here because maybe in future use I could have a small rover that rolls out the back. So we've got the ramp there, I'm actually standing on it, and it just closes up really simply. I've had some problems recently using stairs and using more difficult sort of items. They seem to be spinning the actual whole vehicle. So I'll lower that back down and we'll actually head on inside. So as we head on inside, we've got this nice lowering ramp. I love lowering ramps, they're so cool. And then you hop in here. As we move inside, you can actually notice that we've got a container here on the right with these connectors here, and I've not actually exposed the side of the container so you can't just grab things out of them. You have to grab everything through these connectors here, and it just makes them look a little bit nicer inside the ship. Anyway, let's close up the ramp behind us. So there's the ramp going up. There's something about ramps like that and space that just make it just so damn awesome. Anyway, let's continue on. So up here we have the first crew seat, and this is just like the maintenance kind of area where you can grab your containers, you can walk out, grab your equipment and maintain whatever you're doing maybe around the asteroid base and so on. We've got a little bit of divide here into the main area where we've got the reactors, we've got the seats and we've got the cockpit. And something that's really interesting about building at small ship interiors is just the sort of things you can come up with. I mean, since it's not a massive ship, the hallways don't have to be massive, they can be more curved, there can be more detail within them, and you can just make it look really pretty, really cool. And you can see the character can fit in here quite well, but I can't go in third person unless I crouch like this. But you can sit in here pretty happily and just look around. You can imagine just travelling across miles and miles of asteroid until you reach somewhere to start mining. So now that I've actually shown you around the ship, let's step into the cockpit and take this thing for a spin. So the first thing we're actually going to notice about the cockpit is that we've got glass on both sides, and we once again using the large ship blocks on the small ship to create something that looks quite interesting. So we've got this sort of large cockpit that we can see through, but we are actually in a smaller cockpit within the actual larger one. But you can't actually tell that too much inside. And it takes a little bit of the realism away and the fun that would be of having a larger cockpit within the inside, but it doesn't really matter, it still looks pretty cool. So let's take this thing for a spin, let's begin moving. So as you can see, we're actually heading out, and let's go to a third perspective and have a look at our tracks as they roll. So we've got a little bit of air there, we've got a little bit of a jump. Actually see how these things roll along. I just don't want to get too much speed up because I might end up hitting something. Hit the brakes, quick! Ah. Right, there we go. We probably should have turned out the way. No, we'll do a little bit of turning. And there we go. We should be able to navigate around this asteroid now. There's a little bit of a lump. And keep turning left. It tends to slide a little bit, this thing, so we've got to be pretty careful when it comes to that. But anyway, let's stop this thing here and lower the back door down. and we'll go back outside. So come to the back, hit one of these buttons, door comes down, and there we go. So I was trying to think of some extra things to actually add to this vehicle. I was thinking, what sort of things does a sort of rover like this need? So maybe like a crane arm I was thinking of adding to the top so it could pick up small amounts of ore, maybe something like that. Maybe you just need some point where it can deploy drones, like something along this flat top would be perfect. I left the top actually flat so you could actually land a ship on it. So you come into land, you stick it on top, maybe a little elevator that comes up onto the top deck, maybe some markings as well could be a good addition. Anyway, let me know what you think I should do to improve this little vehicle. I'm going to need to get these tracks working a little bit better as well, get them a little bit smoother, but I think all I have to do is work out the tensioning and the friction of the actual drive wheel. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.